We all would like to understand ourselves a little bit better in order to progress in whatever our goals and tasks are. And what I've found over the years is that sometimes it's good to dispel nomenclature. And what I mean by that is dispel certain aspects or ideas or thoughts that are pretty common to us, that have been told to us from early age. Our educational institutions were just that, institutions. And it has affected our thoughts about intelligence and whether or not we may be intelligent. Now, if someone asks you if you're an intelligent being, I'm sure there's going to be responses based on what the scenario is or what you're discussing. You know, if you come right off and say, yes, I'm a very highly intelligent person, well, maybe socially that's not acceptable at that moment. Or you could be humble and say, oh no, I'm a dumb person. I've heard many times, oh, I would love to do what you do, but I'm just not capable of that. I'm not nearly intelligent enough. And that's the type of nomenclature that I'm talking about dispelling. Our educational institutions, now understand that term, institution, they are dictated by syllabuses. And from our earliest memories of going into school, we were accustomed to learning a syllabus and being rewarded for agreeing with the syllabus that's presented. And what I mean is, you listened, you took notes, you learned, and then you took a test. And that grade that you received was based upon how well you agree with the syllabus that has been provided to you. And if you agree, you answer the way that you're supposed to answer, and you get a good grade. If you do not agree, you might be less interested in that syllabus. You might come off as not caring about that subject, not performing at that subject, and it will reflect on that test in a negative manner. And obviously you will not be rewarded for the information that you've been provided. But when you look back at that from a perspective of intelligence, how can one be judged or graded upon that? You must understand, when you take a look at science, for example, as being one of those syllabuses brought it to your attention from an institution of education. Take Newton, for example. Known as one of the best physicists we all know with Newton. He gave us the ideas of gravity from what we were told, the apple falling from the tree. And that was common physics law for a long time before a fellow by the name of Albert Einstein came and gave us general special relativity. And not that all aspects of Newton was removed from the concept of physics. That's not the case at all. But there were certain concepts of things that broke down. Now, if you have a house of cards and the whole foundation must be removed, well, then everything topples. So what I'm saying is that Humans have a tendency to create foundations first. But if the structural aspect of that foundation is not strong, then the whole house may fall. So if you've been taught by an educational institution something that in the future winds up to be wrong, then everything that you have based upon that wrong assumption, wrong concept, wrong theory, wrong fact provided to you comes tumbling down. Now look at intelligence in this manner. You may watch Michael Jordan, LeBron James on a basketball court, and not only are they athletically talented, but they may say he's a genius at the game. And if the only concept that you had was those individuals on the basketball court, and you know nothing else of them, you may turn to someone and say they are geniuses. But do you know what their ACT or SAT scores are? And if you saw that, would you then say that they may be geniuses? I'm not sure what those scores may be, but it's the idea of what the perception is, what the scenario is. I may be what you consider highly intelligent in one aspect, but if you put me in a garage in order to fix a car, you may see me fumble enough to say that that person is dumb. Intelligence is essentially how you utilize your surroundings, your universe, and manipulate it. Whether it be your verbal skills, your writing skills, your social skills, your skills of engineering, of repairing. Intelligence is relative. It's relative to what needs to be manipulated at that point. You can utilize IQ tests for whatever the scenario may be, but it is not a true determination of what your intelligence may be. To manipulate your universe in the best manner is to understand it. And to understand it inherently, innately, from not only your perspective, but also from the perspective of others. It's the concept of putting yourself in someone else's shoes, which we just don't do on a regular basis. We're incapable of it. Whether it's sympathy, empathy, we're just incapable of it. If you want to manipulate your surroundings and your universe to your benefit, understand your universe better. When we went to school, there were topics, classes, subjects that we were interested in, and those were the ones that we excelled in. There were ones that we were not interested in. Those are the ones we did not excel in. And unfortunately, we may not have been interested in it because of the way that it was taught or the syllabus that was put together. You may have walked into algebra class and said, in my future dealings, I will not need this. Therefore, I am going to do the bare minimum to get the hell out of here. But if you understand that intelligence is not dictated by the score that was given to you and your approval and understanding of the concepts being taught, whether right or wrong, then you can understand and bypass the fact that the next time that someone says something to you, can you do this, that there will never be a response. I am not capable. I am not intelligent enough. Because once again, that is the concept of letting go of the wheel. You have the capability of doing what anyone else of capable hands can do. If you just direct your energy and frequency towards your goal. And understanding that there is no fact or fiction, there is no true or false, there are spectrums of everything in between those concepts. And if you take the time to have a working knowledge of what your reality and universe is, then you can relieve the anxiety of not being able to do something because you believe you're incapable of it. It may take you more time. You may have to look within. You may have to have more guidance from others who are more proficient in whatever you're trying to do. But if you understand this and make that known fully, without feeling inept in front of whomever may be helping you, then you could take the reins upon yourself and understand it better. You may not care about physics. You may not even know what it means. But that doesn't mean that you don't inherently know portions of physics. Or reality. Or certain subjects. We've spoken about frequency. That is a science in itself. You may hear a bell, boom. Well, those are frequency waves coming at you. And you may not be interested in looking up the actual dictionary term for what frequency is and the mathematics involved in waves and all of the aspects of how frequencies considerably work. But inherently, if you just understood that everything about your reality is frequency and you feel it, then you don't need to know a dictionary term for it. You already have an understanding of it. That doesn't take intelligence. It takes self-awareness. Self-awareness of your reality, of your surroundings, leads to the perception of others that when you are able to manipulate it for yours, your families, your friends, your associates, your job's benefit, you are then regarded from others as intelligent. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you feel down, your mood is down, You don't want to talk to anyone. You're sluggish. You are presenting a frequency. And you may need to turn up that frequency, and you understand this. And one of the ways that human beings like to change their own personal frequency without them even realizing it is by putting on a certain type of music. Why? Because music is frequency. Frequency comes in waves. And the frequency of those waves, of how quickly those waves go up, back up the cliff, plateau, or curve back down, how quickly those pulses are, is whether or not it's high or low frequency. It's a rhythm. So if you like to listen to hip hop and you want to hang out and you want to feel the beat, boom, 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 that might be 80 beats per minute. And it's not a coincidence that when you're listening to what could be considered chill music, that the beats per minute is lower. That's you just hanging out. Boom, boom, boom. Well, 80 beats per minute is around the beats per minute at a standing heart rate. But you get on a treadmill and you're running, and you're that type of person that loves to run and loves to get their beats per minute and their heart up to 125, maybe 140 beats per minute. Then you come settle back down at 125 beats per minute. You're doing this and you feel good about it and your heart's pumping. Well, you're listening to club or house music. If you've gone out and heard club music or higher beats per minute, you may spend that time dancing and feeling good, and everyone around you has their eyes pinpointed and, drinking, and there's this frequency in your body that raises your blood pressure and elevates the hair on your neck, and you're having a great time. But how long can you do that before you crash? How long can you run on that treadmill at 140 beats per minute? Well, guess what? When you listen to house music, it's 125 to 140 beats per minute. And that's why if you're in a club and you listen, or you're just listening to house music for a couple of hours, when you get yourself out of that club and it's no longer, there's a lull, a silence, a breath. It's a coordination back down to a resting heart rate. That is frequency. If you go somewhere, and let's say it's a black tie event, you walk in, it's the cocktail hour, and there's 60 to 65 beats per minute, piano music playing. It's a warm-up. It's the start of what comes next. Because everything is frequency, flow, waves, rhythm. If you want to understand how to have a good party, if you want to understand how to be a DJ, you need to have everything in waves, frequency. Have the low beat per minute piano music in the beginning. After, for people to speak, get acquainted, have a drink, warm themselves up, socialize. Then you're led into the next room where there is a DJ who starts with anywhere from 85 to 110 beats per minute songs, which further gets people more warmed up to hopefully dance. They're having more drinks. They're socializing a little bit more. They're getting a little bit looser. Then the party music comes. And the people are dancing. And they're having a great time. And they're really socializing and laughing. Besides maybe the people that are sitting in the chairs in the corner who don't want to be there. They project their own frequency away from the masses. And then it gets faster. And then at the end of the night, they put on the songs that lower that beats per minute, lower that frequency, and let you know it's time to go home. You don't have to go home, but you just can't stay here. Now that you understand the frequency factor of waves and rhythm from your own heartbeats to music and how it relates to a party or your day, did that take intelligence to understand? You understand that. You just didn't know that you understood that. And that's what I mean by understanding your innate abilities. You did not have to go online and look up frequency to understand the whole scientific nature of it, which is a major, major concept of our reality, if not one of the most important. Understand people's frequency, understand people's rhythm. Understand your own frequency, understand your own rhythm. And you will be able to manipulate your universe and reality around you for yours and your loved ones and your associates' benefit. Slow down, realize, look around, clear all of the distractions around you. Be in the moment, in the present. If you do this in any situation, you will be able to succeed in that present moment. And if you are unable to succeed, or life hits you with a problem, readjust, reset, get back to equilibrium, get back to your resting heart rate, start again. Does it take much intelligence to understand that? Not at all. When you don't understand this, that is when things come at you and you start to feel overwhelmed. And when you start to feel overwhelmed, you start to get anxiety-ridden, and your beats per minute increase without you wanting them to. And then you start to clench up. And then you become more anxious. And this comes to a point where you break and you let your hand off the wheel. You give up. You say, I cannot do this. I am not intelligent enough. I am not capable enough. It's nonsense. It's specifically you letting your hands off the wheel because you have allowed your mental capacity and your own mental state to control your physical state. You have let your conscious state control your unconscious or subconscious state to increase your beats per minute, to increase your anxiety, which then projects, whether high or low, because there are high negative frequencies, there are low negative frequencies. and remove the positive frequencies from your life or that moment. Our educational institutions have not done us justice. They have prepared us for the specifics of things that we should know. I agree with that. But the learning methods elude us. So once we leave high school and we leave college, that's when they say it's time to start thinking for yourself. It's taken me many years to understand what I'm saying to you. It's not something that, comes right off. It's not something you're born with. It's something that you obviously learn as you go on. But you only learn it consciously, because subconsciously it's already there. So what I'm saying to you is, how many more subconscious things do you do that you are unaware of? How many subconscious things do you know? You just don't consciously know it yet. I have said before, and I will say this again. I believe that our reality and why we are here is to live in what we consider our physical world, because we have come from a spiritual world where we are all knowing, all encompassing. Think of it like this. You have 10 of your friends when you're young, and you've all decided that you're going to play hide and seek. We used to call it manhunt. But you're still your spiritual, all-knowing beings. You want to play a game. You're bored. What do you guys want to do? Let's go play manhunt. Let's go play hide and go seek. But the problem is that all 10 of you know exactly where you are. It's not a game then. The reality that we exist in is our game that we chose to be a part of, that we have dumbed ourselves down for however many years that we are here in order to play. And not only play, but possibly further learn something that our all-knowing, all-encompassing spiritual self knows and has become bored of. Because if you play manhunt with 10 friends and everyone knows where they are at every moment, well, that's not a game. It's not fun. It's boring. So you have to dumb yourself down. You have to hide in a corner and count to 100. And the rest of the 9 go without you knowing where they are to go hide, and then you must go seek. Look at the spiritual world of, you feel that when you die, you go on for infinite amount of time in heaven, whatever it may be, and that's where you are all-knowing, become a subject of this universe, God. Well, we are here for a short amount of time. We feel that it's a linear path of beginning to end, but the truth is that's not the case. We have always existed and we always will. We have chose this minimal amount of linear time in order to take existence, to dumb ourselves down. You are not just yourself as an ego sense of the individual. Yes, you are by your name, you're your ethnicity, your homeland, you are your likes and your wants of this reality, of what you have perceived as yourself and others have perceived as yourself. But close your eyes. And if you're with someone, both of you close your eyes. Speak. Are you truly what everyone perceives you as? If you can't see what you look like, what clothes you're wearing, what type of watch you have on, what type of sneakers or shoes you have on, the only thing you hear is the voice. If you're listening to my voice, you cannot make any preconceived determination. Maybe by my voice, my accent, my language, you might say where I'm from or whatever. But if you don't know me, you truly can't determine the individual reality, life, ego aspects of what or who I am. And that is the concept of knowing someone within their soul. Close your eyes, and what you are is what you have always been. Your everlasting, all-encompassing, infinite soul. All-knowing. You have dumbed yourself down to play this game of reality because you have been bored in your spiritual self, in your spiritual sense, in your spiritual world. So you have decided to exist. We are here to live. During that time of living, when things get tough and we become anxiety-ridden or we want to give up, that is the moment that you close your eyes, you reset, you understand truly what you are as a soul. You look within because the answers are right there. You just need to consciously be aware of it. I'm not telling you to take your children out of school if you have children. I'm telling you to let them understand these concepts as well. And don't fully take your hand off their wheel while they go to school and learn the basics that we all need to know of reading, writing, math. But do yourself and your kids a favor and the people around you and let them understand what they truly are. And let them understand how to utilize their abilities, their gifts, their God-given gifts. And you will be able to manipulate your reality and your surroundings in a better fashion and be perceived as more intelligent. Until next time, I wish everyone prosperity. Take care. Speak soon.